The Liverpool Legends are in West Michigan this weekend. The Beatles tribute band was started in partnership with Louise Harrison, the sister of George Harrison. We talked with one of the members about the band and the show in Paw Paw Saturday.
One, two, one, two, three.
We are now joined by Marty Scott of the Liverpool Legends. They'll be performing here in West Michigan later this month, giving you the complete Beatles experience. Marty, so glad to have you with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, so excited to have you and to hear your story. First, explain to me, what is your connection to the Beatles?
Well, I have a show called Liverpool Legends, in which is a full-on Beatles Broadway-esque type show that I put together with George Harrison's sister many years ago.
Wow, super cool. So George Harrison's sister Louise, is it? Kind of explain to me how you two got connected and how that then led to the formation of the Liverpool Legends.
So, okay, well, first of all, so I play George Harrison in this Liverpool Legends show. Years ago, just a couple months after George Harrison passed away, I was singing at a Beatle convention in Chicago. I grew up being a big Beatle fan because of my older sister, sort of. And I was singing some songs at a convention, and Louise Harrison was there as the guest of honor. I
Wow.
didn't even know she was there. But, I always sort of, if I was going to sing Beatles songs, I would lean toward the George stuff because it just suited my voice. And so I was singing a few songs, and the guy who was in charge of the festival after I sang said, like, "Hey, George's sister's here and she'd like to speak with you." And she looked at me like we were supposed to be in each other's lives, and we ended up hanging out a few days together of that whole festival. It was really neat, and being such a fan that I am. And then literally like a week later, she brought me to meet Paul McCartney, and I'm sitting on a couch
Whoa.
between both of them, going like, and my whole life sort of just turned upside down. And since then, it's just been a blur of Beatle world, and yeah, and
A
we
little
became really close
Beatlemania.
friends. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was so exciting back then, and it still is. But we ended up being really close for a few years, and then she wanted to help me put something together that was really special. There's a lot of Beatle acts in the world, and there's some that are good and some that aren't, but she wanted to do something that was really special, where all four guys could really fit the personalities and visual and sound right, and be certain kind of people it's really important too. So we set out to put this show together, and we did auditions of kind of people from all over the world.
Wow.
And we ended up finding four likely characters, and we opened a theater in this town called Branson, Missouri, which is an odd town for a Beatles show at the time. But we had this Beatle themed like theater there. It looked like a giant yellow submarine kind of thing. It was super cool. And that's where we started. And then we were doing like 5 shows a week, 10 months out of the year for years and years and years, and learning our craft really well,
Wow.
thousands of shows.
What an
But
honor. Yeah,
yeah,
what an
that's how it
honor to
started
get the
though.
blessing from George's sister herself.
Yeah.
And so then tell me what that process was like actually forming the band. You said you had people audition from all over the world. Once you all decided you had the members, what was that process like, becoming the Beatles? And tell me about the meaning behind the name as well.
Well, it's interesting. Like right away, we got like a little blurb in Rolling Stone. It started out really cool because George's sister to be a part of this tribute to her brother, and she ended up actually moving out to Branson with us. So she was a part of our show for a lot of
Whoa.
years, and we just got lucky, and right away we kind of had our own thing going.
I'm Louise Harrison. Liverpool Legends are the closest you will ever get to hearing and seeing the real Beatles.
At first, we didn't even really know how to have a show because we were just we knew the songs and we knew how to sing them, but we didn't know the show part of it. And, you do thousands of shows, you kind of figure that stuff, the production stuff out. So in Branson, we really learned how to put a show together. And it's kind of like I always say, like if you comparing it to like basketball, or you shoot a million baskets and sooner or later they start going in, and so that was the start of it. And then since then, man, we've done so many things. Now we're touring almost full time. We're still in Branson about only a month out of the year,
Wow.
and we kind of needed to expand into the world. So we're doing all these international dates and did some crazy things. We did a project that got nominated for a Grammy. We got to headline Carnegie Hall. We've done these big giant shows like at the Rose Bowl, and all from me just this random meeting her, you know
That is
in
so
at the
amazing.
beginning.
I
Yeah.
mean, Marty, it sounds like you are just living the dream. Here you are, this big Beatle fan, and now you are performing as George himself, looking the part for our interview today. What has
That's
Louise
kind of what I
said?
look like. I can't help
I
it.
love it. I love it. What has Louise said? Any similarities as she's now interacted with you? Has she said, are there any similarities with you and her brother George?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that's what made us in the first place sort of connect. But I mean, since then, we're truly, she's been, she kind of became my family. It's been 20 years, Louise passed away a couple of years ago at the age of 91.
Wow.
And but we're keeping her memory alive too because she narrates the show. So it's really cool. So it's kind of like a history of the Beatles where we go from the early Ed Sullivan years and we go backwards to the Cavern Club, which is where they first sort of started out, when they were a cover band kind of. And then we do a bit from Shea Stadium and into the psychedelic years and then into like the later years of the Beatles. So we do this history, and it's all narrated by Louise, and it's all us playing live. So it's a really cool show. So, and she's still a big part of it. So
And what does
it's a
it
really
feel
unique
like?
take.
What does it feel like taking the stage as George? What does that feel like being on stage performing in that way?
Yeah, I don't think about it too much. I just, for me, they're all my favorite songs. So we're getting to play, all of us are kind of like that. We're getting to play what we think is the greatest music. And we get to make a lot of people happy. Every day we sort of see people transform from the time they walk into the theater to the time they leave the theater. It's a different person. So it's a really neat show to be a part of because of what it brings to the audience. Like the audience, first of all, it's all ages of people from like 8-year-olds to 88-year-olds, which that doesn't happen in the world at all. And for some reason, the Beatles, there's no real, it's every demographic, it's every age group, which that's a weird thing in itself. And that's just the magic of the Beatles. We're just lucky enough that we're kind of good at portraying them and singing their songs, but really there's no rhyme or reason why 8-year-olds and their like great grandparents are singing every word, that because the Beatles transformed to every generation, and it's still, for whatever reason, they're still as cool now and bigger now than they even were in the 60s. So we're just kind of lucky to I mean, it's great because I could be playing music that I don't like. So for me, there's that end of it, and then there's that the show is really fun, and the whole there's the whole audience is singing every word. So it's a really neat show to be a part of.
All right, well, just one more question for you, Marty. Why Liverpool Legends? Talk about that name.
Well, actually, my mom thought of that name. I have to give her credit. When we first put the show together, we needed a name. We had our first few shows coming up, and we wrote down everything we could think of. And my mom said, "What about Liverpool Legends?" And I said, I think that's dorky, Mom. I don't think so." And then we took a little poll from all our friends and everybody we knew, and everybody came back saying like, "I think Liverpool Legends is good." So I had to go back and tell my mom like, "Hey, remember when I said that you were dorky? Well,
Turns out you
you
were
picked the
right,
name."
Mom, as
Yeah, yeah,
always.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
As always is right.
well, Marty, you've got some shows coming up here in West Michigan. Tell us what people can expect from the Warner Vineyard show.
Oh, well, I mean, first of all, I love Michigan. It's been a long time since I've been there, so we're super excited to go out there. And like I said, it's just kind of a history of the Beatles, and The four guys that we have are really legit, you know, or the other three besides myself. Maybe I'm not legit. I don't know, but it's a really fun show, and like I said, every single song is a hit, or and even if it's not with the Beatle records, even the ones that aren't as big a hits, everybody knows every word to those too. So it's just everyone singing and dancing, and uh, yeah, it's just it's a really fun family show for all ages.
Well,
So
really cool
I guess that's what you can
opportunity.
expect.
Yeah, really cool opportunity for West Michigan. I don't know anyone who doesn't like the Beatles, so really cool that you are carrying on that legend through your group. Appreciate your time speaking with us, Marty.
Yeah, I hope you can make the show.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, take care. Thanks so much.
Bye.
The Liverpool Legends will be at Warner Vineyards in Paw Paw tomorrow. You can find more on the show on our website, 13onyourside.com.